Well, hello there. Thanks so much for being with us tonight.
It is great to see you again. In just a moment, we'll meet an interior designer who says she finds balance in the natural world of clay.
Sounds great. We'll also meet someone who is spinning madly, not out of control, but in a creative way.
But first, for Erika, it's all about the details. Erika is into details. How objects fit together is key in her world of interior design. It's not just about furniture and fabric when she's designing for her commercial clients. It's about creating a complete concept, looking at everything from lighting to cabinetry, making sure the architectural materials fit the space. She says she's living a dream, the seeds of which may have been planted when she was very young. Erika's parents left their home in Italy with their own dream of giving their children a better life in Canada.
I've known since a young age, I guess, that I've been interested in design because when I was 13, I entered a contest about what the word world meant, and it was a little drawing that I had to do for it, and I became a runner-up. And I remember having a phone conversation, an interview, and reading it back years after, it had said that I wanted to be a textile designer. So back then, I guess something in the design world was instilled in me, and there was some sort of creativity that had, developed at a young age. So I took the program at Algonquin, but then it was a 3-year program, and loved it. Loved every minute of it. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of late nights, but it paid off, and since then I've been working in the field. I do have my own business doing commercial interior design, and that started about 3 years ago. And how that happened was that where I was working before, I was working at a small design firm, I was laid off. So basically I was given a choice. I either sink or I either swim, and I took the chance to swim.
Erika designed her own home using the principles she applies in her professional life to create a space that would complement her work-at-home lifestyle. She also made sure to create a space for herself that is free from rules, where anything is possible.
Creativity is my being, really. So not only do I do it in my business life, but I need to do it in my personal life. So throughout the years, I've always taken courses, whether it was silversmithing, jewelry courses, whether it was different types of mediums, two-dimensional mediums like watercolor or acrylics or encaustic even. But throughout those years, I've constantly taken off and on pottery classes, and I realized that that was my medium because I kept going back to it, and I was intrigued by how simple the material was, but yet how it has no rules and you're able to do anything and everything with it. When it comes to the pottery, basically everything I do is very experimental. I don't really give a lot of thought about what I'm doing, and that's the beauty of it, because in my professional design world, I have to have validity, right? Everything has to have reasons for doing what I'm doing and designing what I'm designing. But with the pottery, I could just let my mind be numb, and that's what interests me. These pieces are very experimental. 10 years of my pottery life, I've just experimented with different shapes and sizes and techniques. A lot of times I add elements to the clay pieces, like dead grass or metal, and wrap metal around them, or also pieces of vines. Sometimes they're functional, like light candle holders, but usually they're completely non-functional and sculptural, and that's what I tend to focus on. These are totems. I guess I'm inspired by just totems in different cultures, and they just are interesting because of their shapes. I make them tall, I make them short. They almost have like a personality to each one of them. My interest in architecture was the inspiration for this piece of totem landscapes, which I called Totem City. It's just indicating like how our landscape is constantly changing, and portrayed by these totems at all different heights and levels. And what connects them all together is this changing platform of grains that are like sand or water that can be manipulated and moved between them.
The very nature of pottery is fragile. Erika has learned to work with its delicate character, taking what some might see as misfortune and turning it into opportunity. Her sculptural jewelry line is the result of a happy mishap.
I had all these long, tall sculptural elements that weren't very stable, and that was the beauty of them. But along the skinny wall that I had them on, I kept knocking them over. So one day, I picked up the broken pieces and thought, you know, I like the shapes and I like the color, and maybe I can do a grouping, and oh, you know what, I'll make some jewelry. And so I did. I created a piece, very simply. It was a very simple piece, and I wore it out that day, forgot I even had it on, and I had strangers come up to me and ask me about it, and where did I get it, and how can I get one, and so I made another one, and the same thing happened. So I thought, oh, you know what, I need to stop doing these totems and these vessels and kind of put that aside for now and start doing a collection of sculptural shapes for sculptural jewelry, and that's what I did, and that's how it developed. So because of a mishap, all of a sudden a beautiful thing happened, and it took me in this great direction.
Dovercourt Community Centre in her Ottawa neighbourhood is Erika's home away from home. She uses the facilities here to prepare the pieces she assembles in her studio.
When I do the jewelry line, I do pieces specifically for the jewelry. And basically, I just sit there with a slab of clay and I create these shapes. And some of them may speak to me as going together, but in the end, it sort of evolves into something else. And all of them are completely unique, and that's the beauty of it. For me, when I work with clay, I need to work quick. I need quick results. And so I like to use a series of techniques, and I like to celebrate the inconsistencies of clay. I like to see that it is clay. So when I work with glazes and stains, I use a technique where I wipe some of it off. And what that does is it allows the textures that I've created to be revealed even more so. Color is very important in my world, and I do like to have strong and very dominating colors and a lot of neutral colors as well. I like to play up textures and also different types of glaze and stains. I'm inspired by the different pieces of clay and the colors and the textures, and I don't really have a plan from the onset as to how they group together, but once they're fired and they're colored and they're glazed and the shapes are finalized, then I can look at them and reassess and see which ones work together. And for me, it's all about feeling. It just either feels right or it doesn't. I don't want to have to think a lot about it. I don't want to have to say what it is. It's more of an abstract piece. A lot of times when I'm finished the piece, that is when I see something out of it. Maybe I initially was inspired by an Africa trip, or a certain shape that I've seen in the wilderness, or on an ad in a magazine or something. But I don't want to have to give validity to what I do. I do enough of that in the design world that I do on a day-to-day basis. So to me, this is a way that my brain could just be numb and allow the creativity to flow.
Erika lets the clay do the talking when she creates her jewelry, using a simple wire wrapping technique and small beads to enhance the pieces. The courses she took for fun, like painting, silversmithing, and clay, all come together on this three-dimensional canvas.
The whole idea about the jewelry is that it is sculptural. Number one, that's what it is. It's a piece of sculpture. It's a little miniature piece of sculpture. And with that in mind, that is why, to me, the jewelry is one element of it, but also when you're not wearing it, what do you do with it? You know, to put a beautiful piece of sculpture into a hidden box didn't make any sense to me.
Now the art becomes multi-purpose. When the jewelry is not being worn, it can be displayed in its own art box. Erika names each one of her mini sculptures and creates a harmonizing environment for them to live in.
I try to use different painting techniques. Also, I try to reuse wall coverings that are no longer good to me for the design field because they have been discontinued, and it's a way that they can be reused and reintegrated into an art piece.
Recycling objects or ideas can be the secret path to a new beginning, an awareness that even mishaps, when viewed creatively, can lead to personal success. Erika Ferrarin followed this path and found her bliss in the spaces she designs and the clay she shapes.
Design is what I do. So I will continue doing what I'm doing, whether that is interior design or the jewelry or the pottery, and I truly enjoy it. And I think that I am living my dream right now. My parents came here from Italy to give me a better life, me and my sisters, and I'm basically living it. I am healthy. I've got a beautiful home that I designed. I have a great business that's flourishing, and I'm doing what I love with the clay. So really, I mean, what else could you ask for? It's perfect.
Well, Erika's jewelry is indeed unique, and isn't it wonderful it all started with a happy accident?
And the lesson, Joel, I guess, is that we should all pay a little closer attention to the accidents, happy and not so happy, that happen in our lives.